Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast. I'm your host, D.L. Swall. And before I continue, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to my show. Deeply appreciate it. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment on my show. Now let's get right to it because I don't want to hold nobody up here. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about how Ja Morant's now loving Memphis right now. And I'm not talking about the city of Memphis or the people of Memphis. I'm talking about he's now loving the Memphis Grizzlies. That has made significant amount of changes this past offseason, into which they want a better flow of their offense. That's why they fired Taylor Jenkins, who ran a pick and roll, the offense that Ja Morant loves. Pick and roll offense because he can get to the rim or he can pass it out, kick it out to Desmond Bane for a three, or kick it out to Jaren Jackson Jr. for a jump shot or a three. Oops, wait a minute. They traded Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for Cartavious Caldwell-Pope and draft picks. So they trade their second best player, Ja Morant, backcourt mate. That might be a problem. They fired Taylor Jenkins before the end of last season and hired their current guy, which his name is Tomas Lacello, who was the assistant coach, former player, who is the head coach now. And he was a head coach for the Paris national team, for the German national team. He runs a motion style offense where everybody gets involved, where everybody touches the ball and scores. Cut to the basket and everything. Why did they hire him? Because he runs a style of play that the Grizzlies front office wants to play. They got tired of the pick and roll offense. They got tired of Ja dominating the ball. They want everybody to play. But there's a problem with this whole situation. And that is Ja Morant did not buy into the system. He probably didn't buy into the firing of his favorite coach, Taylor Jenkins. He is the only coach that he played for. He didn't buy into it. He didn't buy into all the changes. He really didn't buy into Desmond Bane being traded. Did not like it. How I know? You can tell by his play on the court. By trading your second best player, that put a lot of pressure on your best player. And for Ja Morant, for him, he is playing a career low 30 minutes per game. Usually a superstar player play anywhere from 37 to the 40s, mid 40s. No 30 minutes per game. He is shooting 38.3% from the field. I mean, he's missing floaters. He's missing shots that he usually he was making before this all went down. How many times we see Ja Morant hit floaters or jump mid-range shots? This would be money. He's not shooting 30.3%. That's not money. Now, Ja Morant is not a great three-point shooter, but the man is shooting 14% from three. And on top of that, on the 3-game losing streak. On top of that, he was suspended by the team, as they say, conduct determinant to the team, which means my man was not feeling what the head coach had to say about his play. I want to say against the against the Golden State Warriors? No, excuse me, it was against Los Angeles Lakers, where he was called out by his head coach in the locker room in front of his teammates. Your best player. Now keep in mind, the best player on the team was called out in front of his teammates, young teammates, should I say, that full of rookies, second, third-year players. You got one veteran on the team, that's Cartavious Caldwell-Pope. You got no veterans on that team, but you was called out by front of your teammates by a bunch of young players, by your head coach, about your effort, about your hustle, about your loyalty, about the way you were playing in that Laker game at halftime. And he comes out at the halftime like he ain't give a damn. And when you hear Draymond Green, when he was watching the game, watching film, watching Ja Morant, how he was playing, and he was just standing in the corner, not really being involved in the offense, he said, and he talked to Steph Curry about this, and he was like a one-man protest. Like he didn't feel like playing, like he's not feeling on what this team is doing. And I'm quite sure a lot of players around the league probably had the same assumption about Ja Morant and how he was feeling about playing for the Memphis Grizzlies right now. And when you hear former players like Reggie Miller, Jeff Teague, and when they come out and say, hey, Ja Morant needs to change the scenery because Memphis is not it anymore. Memphis is not the place for him anymore. He's not longing. He doesn't love playing basketball in Memphis. Why do I say that? Because Ja Morant was asked a question about his joy. And he said he has no joy. I'm not going to paraphrase or what he said, but along those lines, that's what he said. He has no joy playing basketball. And in reality, what he's saying is he has no joy playing basketball for the Memphis Grizzlies. That's what I take from it, because when we hear that, guys don't lose joy playing basketball unless you're a player who's always hurt. We heard Jimmy Butler say he lost his joy playing basketball. That was because of money. That's because he won a new contract. And as we can see, once he got traded to Golden State Warriors, got the new contract, he found the love and joy again playing basketball. This one's a little different. This is a type of joy where he does enjoy playing for the team that he is playing for. And without saying it, he needs to change the scenery. That's what Reggie Miller feels. That's what Jeff Teague feels. I'm quite sure a lot of other former players see that. And they probably agree with that. I think Ja needs to change the scenery. I think that the Memphis Grizzlies, when they traded Desmond Bane over the summer to Orlando Magic, it's kind of like they want to rebuild, but they still want to compete and be competitive. So they really did not commit to a rebuild. They commit to a half build. And the half build is not going to get it done. By trading Desmond Bane, you put a lot of pressure on Ja Morant to carry the load. Still got Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the best defense players in the game. He's a double-double guy, and he's your second best player right now. But he's also a guy that can't really stay healthy. And he's also a guy, according to Marcus J. Spears on ESPN, who covers basketball, not the Marcus Spears from NFL Live or Monday Night Countdown. Not that Marcus Spears, but Marcus J. Spears, the light-skinned tall guy. He said, people that out there that Jaren Jackson Jr. also is frustrated with this style of offense they're running in Memphis, which is a motion offense. You do not have these conversations. You do not hear this stuff come out if you have strong leadership in your locker room. The Memphis Grizzlies do not have strong leadership in their locker room. This is a team full of young players who the veteran player on this team is 32 years old. If you have strong leadership, if you have veteran players in our locker room, what I'm talking about right now, what everybody else is talking about right now, does not get leaked or come out. Why? Because veteran players will know how to make sure that things will stay in-house. If you don't believe me, ask Udonis Haslem, because he has stopped a lot of things in our locker room getting out. He shut it down. Now, the Jimmy Butler situation, granted, that's one of their best players. His problems with Pat Riley and how Pat Riley made some comments, Jimmy didn't like it. That's a little different. But I'm quite sure there was more to that. And because the Miami Heat had a strong veteran player, a leader, and Udonis Haslem, even though he didn't play a lot, that was his team. He made sure that locker room would not get affected of what's going on with business. This situation with Ja Morant, where he got caught up by his coach, by his effort, where he got caught up by his play, where he caught up not for being disinterested, and the way he responded with the reporters after the game, a strong veteran player would not let that go down. In fact, a veteran player would make sure that their best player don't get called out the way he got called out by this head coach. There'll be some respect there. I don't know how they can salvage this relationship, because I truly believe winning is not going to cure it. This relationship, before it even got started, it's over. It's over. Ja Morant, what's his name? Tumas. That relationship, it's over. It's no way that they can have that dynamic head coach and player relationship. That's over with. That's done. Once he called him out and Ja Morant's might embarrass me in front of my teammates, you question me about my leadership, you question me about my play, my effort, that's over with. That's over. Because Ja Morant himself is a young player who's going through all types of changes ever since towards the end of last season. And on top of that, he has battled injuries. This guy was suspended for his gun incidents. He lost his head coach. He lost the offense that he loved to run. He lost his second best. He lost his friend, one of his closest teammates, Desmond Bane. And now he's going through these changes where he's playing with a lot of young players that's younger than him who probably is not ready to contribute to this team yet. The only young player that stands out on the Memphis Grizzlies for the last few years has been Scottie Pippen Jr. This young rookie Bassett, he looks good. But what about everybody else? Zach Edney is hurt. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's not a young player. He's been almost been there the same amount of years as Ja Morant. And he just got a contract extension. And these two guys are surrounded by young players who are 19, 20 years old. 21, 20, 19. And they're developing. These two guys, they're developed. They're ready to compete. And John sees I'm on a team full of young guys who are not on the same level that I'm on. That's a problem. And I got a coach who has an offense that I don't like running. That doesn't fit my skill set. That's a problem. Along with their relationship that's off to a horrendous start in which they left that relationship, might as well say it's over with. That's a problem. And he got suspended for his comments he made during question by reporters about his effort, about his leadership. And when he said, hey, go ask the coach, go ask the coaching staff. If they tell you what's the best solution, don't play me. He wasn't saying that to be funny or mad. He was saying that because that was true. Then he come back out after his 1 game suspension. He comes back and play the Detroit Pistons, in which he was suspended for the Toronto game, in which they lost. Also lost to the Lakers. Comes back for the Piston game, had 18 points. He played well. He didn't play good. He didn't play relatively really good. And he acknowledged that in his press conference. That he had a lot of turnovers. You got to be better protecting the basketball. But that wasn't it. That wasn't the question that kind of got us talking more about Ja Morant. The question was about his joy of playing. And he said, I don't have no joy of playing. Not in those words, but he said he had no joy. He's not enjoying playing basketball right now. That's a bigger issue because a superstar player like Ja Morant don't lose joy playing basketball. They lose joy playing basketball for the team they're playing with because everything has changed. Nothing looks the same. And he's not feeling the change. He's not feeling the offense. He's not feeling the coach. He's not feeling anything. And after everything he's been through, self-inflicted by himself from the team, yeah, a guy like Ja Morant might need to change the scenery. It's not about losing his joy. It's about that this chapter in his life, playing for the Memphis Grizzlies, it's over. It's over. Because let's say the Memphis Grizzlies don't make the playoffs next season. And let's say they're one of the top 5, 10 worst teams in the league. I think at that point in time, the Grizzlies might commit to a rebuild. They're going to have to because you cannot sit there and say, you know what? We're going to rebuild, but we also got Ja Morant, so we also want to compete as well. This man next season will be year 4 in a 5-year deal for $197.2 million. I don't think Ja Morant want to sniff, smell, or look at a rebuild, even though in a way he's kind of looking at it right now and he's not feeling it. And at some point, the Memphis Grizzlies got to make a decision on are they going to commit to a full rebuild or they're going to trade Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. I got to throw him in there too because it's a rebuild, man. You can't rebuild your team around a superstar. You cannot. Prime example, the Philadelphia 76ers, they are going through the same thing because at some point, they're going to have to look at that roster with Paul George and Joel Embiid, and they're going to have to determine, is our team better without them or better with them? We got Tyrese Maxey, we got Jared McCain, and we also got VJ Edgecombe. And they're balling despite of them. Imagine if we commit to building around them where this team would be. See, teams need to stop doing halfway and just commit full blown. Commit to it. Commit to a full-blown rebuild. Because at some point, you're going to have to. I mean, Joe Embiid, his new contract for to kick in pretty soon. Do you want to continue to pay all that money for an injury-prone player who can't play no more than 50 games and always get hurt in the postseason? Do you want to commit to Paul George, who himself can't stay healthy and who himself always finds a way to get hurt in the postseason? The same to the Memphis Grizzlies, the team that we're talking about today. Do you want to commit to a full rebuild, or do you want to continue to play the middle ground? Half commit to rebuild and half commit to Ja Morant, a player whose body language, a player whose actions is telling you, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. I have no joy in playing for you guys. I don't want to be the face of this franchise anymore. Like, my joy playing for you guys is taken away from my joy of just hooping. I got to get the hell up out of here. But I don't want to come out and just outright say it. So I want to play this word associate game with you guys. At some point, the Memphis Grizzlies or Ja Morant will have to come to a conclusion that, hey, this ain't working no more. This relationship has gone as far as it was going to go. We had some incredible times and we had some bad times. At the end of the day, it's time to part ways. It's time to reset his career and this franchise. And it's okay. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, it's about a player being happy and a team that can reset their books, find players that can fit this new head coach offense, and play that style of brand of basketball. Because remember, in the Olympics, it's team basketball. In the NBA, it's about having that one or two or three superstars on your team that can lead your team to a championship. Those 2 or 3 players are going to dominate the basketball, and everybody else got to fill in the gap. That's what this game is all about. It's always been that way. Whether you get your superstar through the draft or through free agency, that's what this game has always been about. 1, 2, or 3 superstar players. There's always been those 1 or 2 teams like the San Antonio Spurs and Detroit Pistons who play the team game, and that as a team they won a championship. Even though we look at the Spurs, they had a Tim Duncan, Dave Robinson, they were superstar players, but they believe in team basketball. And the Pistons, when you have Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, star players, all-star players who believe in team basketball, because they had a coach who preached team basketball. They had a coach who sold team basketball to those teams. Coach Pop, and Larry Brown. The Memphis Grizzlies want to play team basketball. They don't have the players who will buy into that right now. The young players, you can sell that to them. They'll buy into that. But Ja Morant is not buying into that. That's a superstar player wants to be treated like a superstar. That's a superstar player who's looking at this and like, this ain't for me. I got to get up out of here. He just don't know how to say it because he don't want to hurt the fans' feelings. He has delivered a special relationship with that city and that fan base. And that means a lot to him. I don't want to see Ja Morant in a situation where Ja Morant can't be Ja Morant on the court. I don't want to hear about a player or and Ja Morant about losing joy playing the game. But I'm also feel that if the Memphis Grizzlies had some veteran players in the locker room, you do not hear or see what's going on in Memphis. You don't see Ja Morant with bad body language. You don't see or hear about him going off on his head coach being called out. You don't see these bad habits from Ja Morant on the court or in the locker room. If you have a strong veteran leadership or a strong veteran presence on that team. That's why I say when you have veteran players are valuable to teams. You cannot get rid of veteran players. Veteran players are valuable to a team because veteran players and veteran leaders, they shut down a lot of things. They handle a lot of situations before it gets leaked out of the locker room. They squash it, they handle it. When you don't have that, this is what happens. This is what we get. When that time comes for the Memphis Grizzlies to trade Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., I only hope that they will get veteran players to not only teach these young players the game of basketball, not only teach them the game outside of basketball, which I mean is showing them how to carry yourself as a man. Veteran players teach you how the game of basketball is played on the court, and they teach you things off the court to make sure you do not get in trouble, to make sure you stay out of trouble. They'll show you how to carry yourself as a man. Because right now, your veteran player you have is KCP, and he's 32. That's one veteran player you have. That's not enough. You need a strong veteran player like Udonis Haslem back in the day, like a Kevin Garnett back in the day, a Paul Pierce, a Ben Wallace, Charles Oakley. I'm just naming players. Veteran presence means everything. When they had Marcus Smart, when they traded for Marcus Smart, and he was on that team, you can tell his presence was felt in that locker room. You can tell his presence was felt after every press conference. You can tell his veteran presence was felt on the court. The Memphis Grizzlies need veteran players. And if you're going to keep Ja Morant for the remainder of his contract, which I hope they don't, but if you do, get him some veteran players and have some veteran presence in the locker room so that veteran player can not only help the players on this team, but also going to help the head coach, because a veteran player is the extension of the head coach, because the veteran player will make sure that everything runs smoothly. A veteran player is another voice. A veteran player is the leader in the locker room. And a lot of times, your best player is not your best leader. That's when veteran players come in. The Memphis Grizzlies need to get some veteran players. So if you're going to keep Ja Morant around in Memphis, get some veteran players on that team to help the brother. I mean, that's all I got to say on that front. I mean, I'm a big component of vets. We need more vets. In this situation, you just need a vet to, patrol the locker room, make sure everything runs smoothly on the court, and check all the egos. Because your coach can't do everything. And hopefully, this is only 9 games in for the Memphis Grizzlies. And they say winning cures everything. For this situation, I don't know. But I would say if they start playing winning basketball and start playing better basketball, some things it would help with the issues on the court. The issues off the court with Ja Morant, as far as without saying he don't want to be in Memphis, that's not going to help. That's not going to help. But hopefully, they get back to playing winning basketball and they win some games so that Ja Morant can get back to being exciting and somewhat find his joy of playing. Because I hate to see players lose joy of playing this kid's game, a game that they love, a game that I love. Remember that. Bad days, bad things, they don't last forever. Because things start to look good. And once they start looking good, you feel good. And once you feel good, you feel that joy. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment on my show. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for tuning to the Double Dribble Podcast. And I'm your host, DS Walk. And I'm up out of here. Enjoy your Thursday. Peace.